Hello, viewers. Welcome to RSaba podcast. Next episode today, we got Saitej Bommidi. Saitej, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Saitej Bommidi. I am 20 years old. I'm from Novi, Michigan. I currently go to school at Michigan State for computer science, and yeah, that's me.
All right. Okay. So we got these Novi people coming in left and right. So you're in computer science, right? And it's your second year.
This is my second year. Yes, or I just completed my second year. I'm taking summer classes, going into my junior year.
Computer science is hard, isn't it?
Yeah, most people when I tell them that I'm in computer science, they like automatically assume I'm smart or whatnot. That's just kind of like the stigma that comes with it. But personally, I would say I'm smart, but I wouldn't say I'm like the smartest kid. Computer science is definitely extremely challenging. That's something that I truly believe that you get what you give out of it, and directly, like the more you get into
So
creating code, the more you literally have a product or anything. It's creating something,
yeah, I
like I think that's pretty
couldn't
interesting.
agree more. No, and then some of the most successful people like Bill Gates and Zuckerberg, they all started off coding. It's
Mhm.
one of the most important things you can do. And what I wanted to say was, you said most people assume I'm smart. I know you're smart, and I didn't. I knew that before I even knew you were in computer science because and this is something we might disagree with, but I hate when people equate school marks with intelligence
Exactly.
because they're not.
Exactly.
Do you agree with that?
I agree with that pretty much completely because I've seen people who've excelled in school, like toppers in everything that they've done, but you can't even hold a regular conversation with them, or you want to talk about anything other than just studies, and it's very hard like to communicate with them or try to like understand what they're doing. Like they're extremely smart, don't get me wrong, but it's in a very specific niche. I think technically if you want to be smart, you have to be able to like pick up many different things, like adapt to different things and have the ability to just be malleable to the world around you. You know what I'm saying? And if you're just at home and at a desk just studying, there's very little influence on you from the outside world. You're just taking in information that's being spoon fed to you directly, which is great. It works amazing. Like that's what college is for. But I think everyone that thinks that that might be the only way to push forward really really needs a wake up call. That's what I'm saying
Yeah.
because the world is coming fast, and
Hmm.
the sooner you realize that, the better
Well,
prepared you are.
one of my YouTube videos, I talk about how you can't limit your education to just the school system because
Mhm.
it's not enough. They're not going to teach you about real life. They're not going to teach you about speaking. They're not going to teach you how to do your taxes, how to manage money, how to get rich. So, like you said, if you're just chained to a desk all day studying, what's
Mhm.
going to happen? You're not going to. And these people, the thing with these people, Saitesh, is they're so stuck in the matrix. They spoon the lie that you're spoon fed growing up is that school is all you need to be successful, and
Yeah.
they're just believing it. They're 20 something years old. They've had a taste of the real world, and they still believe that lie. What are you gonna do about it? But yeah, that's where I think the people that are just stuck to a desk studying and they think that that will bring them success. That's where their mindset kind of comes from, right?
Mhm. I agree.
Yeah. So were you ever like that, like in high
Yeah.
school or anything? Like,
So I was like this all the way up until my second year of high school. As growing up as an Indian kid, like my parents would always tell me because it worked for them. Like my parents, they went to school, they crossed the country, they came to America with nothing, and they were able to succeed. And the one thing that they had to their name was just a degree and education. And it makes sense. It makes perfect sense why they want to put that on their children because that's just what they know. That's what they like teach in India as well, that like education is the answer. And education does solve a lot of problems. Don't get me wrong. Like
it
I'm not
does.
here to say that kids should go out there and just stop their college degrees. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that college degrees means that that's just the beginning of learning. Like I remember Neil deGrasse Tyson said this in some podcast that I believe it was his Joe Rogan podcast, and he was saying that how most people, when they think of themselves as a student, that's just a period of their life. They think that and after they come out of college, they just believe that they're done learning. Most people, you never think about learning after you come out of college. like boom, like. But what you need to do is become a lifelong learner. That's what he was saying. There's so much out there that you have to just be open for. If you're not in that student mindset and you close like your mind and all like your senses basically to what the world has to give, then you're just missing out on part of your life. And that's just
Well, have you ever heard of the concept called having a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset?
oh yes, I've heard of it, but I'm not fully
Yeah.
familiar with it.
So fixed mindset is kind of like the people that think they're done learning after college. Like that's it. I'm this level of intelligence. I can't get any smarter. I'm done learning, and they
Hmm.
think that the education system is the only way to educate. Dude, I got a book right here. I got a book like I got books everywhere, bro. I've learned
Hmm.
more on my own, going out of my way, going to a bookstore, buying a book, reading it, than I have throughout all of high school. I don't remember a thing I learned in high school. It was garbage.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you can agree. Do you remember anything you learned in high school?
No. I mean,
I don't know
I
if it's any
know bits and
different in the
pieces, but
U.S.
most of the stuff that I learned in high school wasn't really applicable. Like
No, it was just there. Yeah,
it was just letters on a paper to say that I got credit for this so that I could keep
yeah,
moving forward to what I needed to move forward to. But if I
100%,
looked at it
100%.
like that time investment, like why I was doing it might not have been the right reason, but I'm happy that I've got it done. So what I'm trying to
Yeah,
say is that everyone that's like might be in high school right now trying to go to college and know that like that's coming up, your classes are important, but take it for what it is. It is a class and it is just like it's just a credit. You know what I'm saying? Like certain
yeah,
classes they might be guided towards your degree or whatever you're planning to do. I think those extremely apply yourself as much as you can. That's going to help you a lot. But all your other classes that a lot of people stress over, you know, like you got your US history classes that we are talking about. Half the stuff that we learn in US history,
you're
I
done. You
don't
don't
know if
remember
I've
anything.
used it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. And they say I've always asked as a kid, like, why do we learn about history? What's the point of learning what happened with Native Americans 400 years ago? And they always said you don't want history to repeat itself.
yeah.
But like, bro, history always repeats itself. It's been happening
Yeah,
forever. You know what
history
I
is
mean?
inevitable. Everything we're living,
Yeah.
especially us, we grew up during 2020, 2021. Like that's gonna be in history books no matter what, like the way we see it. And for that, I think it's important that we need to like record what's happening in the world, know what's happening in the past, that kind of stuff. And if you're gonna be a historian, go for it. But I really do think that there's a lot of time that we spent on that and a lot of pressure that kids put on themselves to learn that stuff
Yeah.
when the importance of it
Well,
might not be
well,
the
I can
greatest.
give you a good example of how history is repeating itself, and it's actually kind of like coincidental with how the years worked out. So, in 1918, like the late 1910s, 1918, 1920, there was the Spanish flu.
Okay.
You're familiar with the Spanish flu?
Yes, I've
It
heard of
was kind of like COVID but more deadly,
it. Hmm.
and it was right after the First World War. And after that, after the Spanish flu, everyone kind of like went crazy, started partying, drinking, all this shit, spending their money like it's fucking nothing. And then
Hmm.
we hit a Great Depression like in the late 1920s. So for like 10 years. I think we're kind of getting like a same type of thing right here because we had COVID, obviously, everyone knows what COVID is. And then
Hmm.
we're kind of entering a stage where everyone likes spending, everyone likes partying. I don't know if that's just me, but like partying is clubbing and all that is more prevalent than ever because it was taken away from us for so long, and now
I totally agree with
what
that
are we
because
seeing?
like I go to oh my bad.
No,
Um
now we're seeing markets just tank, and it looks like we're entering another type of recession, depression, whatever you want to call it. And most economists, most people that I know in the financial industry are all saying it's inevitable and it's coming soon. But you go. I want to hear what you have to say.
so I was just adding to what you said about the partying thing. So I go to Michigan State, which is like considered the largest party school in the state of Michigan. And I can tell you firsthand that partying is at an all-time high. Like I have partaken in the parties there, and it's an interesting environment. So all these places, you know, all these kids, like as you see them all, and you can't really like get a grasp for why everyone is there in the party place because it's a huge combination of people. But the fact that everyone is there just because they have nothing else to do is mind-boggling to me. Like that's crazy to me. Consistent basis, you see people going Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, not
Really?
Sunday, but 5 days in a row to the bars, and that's just what they do. And somehow they're able to function with school, and I applaud them for that. However, I just it's unfathomable to me. Like partying is at an all-time high, and
Wow. No, I'm surprised they're doing it 5 days a week. Cause over here, I'm like, they might go out on the weekend. And look, dude, there's nothing wrong with partying. There's actually nothing wrong with it.
mhm.
But 5 days a week, that's ridiculous. And like you said, they have nothing better to do. But I think it's deeper than that. I think it's because everyone else is doing it, and people are so scared to be
Oh,
themselves. And say, yeah, and that's exactly the reason why everyone's doing it is because everyone's doing it. If that makes sense,
I
you
see.
know what
It's
I
just
mean?
like
Because
what the
people want
thing
to
is
follow.
to do.
Exactly. What they want to follow the crowd. I was talking to my friend today. I'm like, I don't like they have like this new party house in Windsor and it's cool, dude. Like I hope you guys have an amazing time at the party. They're jumping off roofs and shit. I love it. Like I love to see you guys have a good time, but not for me. So like if you guys ever have like 20 people over, we play Madden, get some drinks going, invite me. And he's like, dude, no one would go to that because if there's not a stupid amount of people, like a crowd to follow, no one's
Mm-hmm.
coming.
I see.
But like a lot of people in these crowds, in these parties, would actually prefer that. They're too so scared of being themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
Yeah.
me personally, if I had 20 of my close friends around me and I am there playing Xbox or whatnot, I would personally enjoy that a lot more being in a large crowd.
And dude,
Like,
20 people is a lot of fucking people. Like,
20
like
people
if
is a
you talk
lot.
to
Don't get me
19,
wrong. Yeah,
yeah, dude.
technically 20 people like a year ago was considered illegal. You know, like it's a large
Oh yeah,
amount
you're right.
of people.
Exactly, exactly. And dude, like you talk to 19 people in one night and you actually have genuine conversation with them. That's a lot of. You probably can't even hit 19 people. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So like, that's why like there's just all these bodies to make you feel more like content that you're doing what. At least I can tell you firsthand that's why I was doing it. I loved partying when I went. Like I loved fucking mosh pitting and all this shit.
Hmm.
But it was because everyone else was doing it, and I was like, didn't want to do what
It's
no
not
one else was
not the
doing, and it
situation that you wanted to be in personally. You're just kind of following the
no,
crowd. It happens to all of us. Like, there's not
yeah.
much we can do other than wake up from it and realize that like maybe.
Saddening for me is like a lot of these people I used to party with.
Hmm.
We meet in these meetings. Like I'm busy and like I want to be with them. Like I want to see them. Like yo, I miss you, motherfuckers. But like
Yeah,
on the
those are your
weekends when they
boys.
come, yeah, not even because I'm bored. It's just on the like I want to like there's like they still have a place in my heart. Like I miss these people, and like I want to go talk to them
Hmm.
on the weekends. And then on the weekends it's like yo, we're partying, and it's like, bro, I don't. I have work tomorrow. I can't be like staying out till 2 in the morning. You know what I mean? It just doesn't work out
Yeah.
anymore. It's always a party. Whatever. I hope you
And
guys
the
are
older
having
we
the best
get
time.
too, our bodies kind of regenerate slower. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I'm waiting for him. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Like I think my mental maturity came a bit earlier, and it's like I kind of got over the whole party thing at a young age. Because do you
Hmm.
even know how old I am?
No, I genuinely don't know how old you are.
19. Yeah. I just graduated high school
Wow.
last year. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. That changes my perspective a lot. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, nice to meet you again, Richard.
Yeah, no, but Tom was surprised too because he's like, dude, I thought you were Ace's age. And I'm like,
Hey, you
no.
carry yourself seem much wiser than the age that you are, and that's something you should be extremely proud of.
Yeah,
Like, that's
thank you,
amazing.
man. I
And
know.
it's great.
I know. It's. I hate, but like it's yeah, it's just I don't know. I don't know why it happened. It just happened. I think a big part of it was taking a year off from school. Okay, because before I took the year off, I was kind of was a little bit ahead, but like not really. Like I was
Okay.
into stocks. That's about it. But then I got a taste
Mhm.
of the real world. I worked a minimum wage factory line job for a fucking year and got a taste of like how
Okay.
fucking miserable people are. The real value of a dollar and everything
Yeah.
changed. You know what I mean? Everything
Real
changed.
value of a dollar is very important to find out as soon as possible if you're growing up right
Oh
now.
my god, yeah.
I mean, obviously
You
the
gotta make
value of
that
the
shit.
dollar is changing.
exponentially right now. It's going down. Like the value, every dollar in your bank account is losing value every day. It's sad.
Yeah.
And you know what's sad? School doesn't teach a thing about it. Nobody knows. No, everyone's so
Yeah.
blind to what's going on. It's sad, man. But what are you gonna do, right? Like that's and we're in this 1% better thing together. Do you
Hmm.
make your money work for you? Like, are you into that whole make your money work for you? Like, I
I
know.
would love to figure out how to make my money work for me, but I haven't been able. My technically my wealth isn't enough for me to invest
Dude,
fully in like
two
that. That's what I
things.
say.
No, that's a horrible excuse. Two things: business and real estate. Those are business
Business and
could
real
be like
estate.
your own business, like your own startup, your friend's business that you believe in, invest in it, and over time your money makes you more money. Obviously, real estate, but business, the way I invest in business is through the stock market.
Hmm.
So like, dude, you're smart. Like
Okay.
you know Nvidia, you're into computer science. You know the
Yeah, I
company.
love. That's a great company,
You can
Nvidia, the
invest
graphic
in it.
card company, right?
Yeah, you can
I'm
invest.
pretty sure they're like I could totally see why I would want to invest in that company is because I know that all this crypto stuff is going well, it's just more like a trend. I don't know if it's like a I'm not fully informed
Sold
on
on it.
how crypto
Yeah,
works, but I know that crypto mining is very big and my little brother was someone that did that as well and he had to get a graphics card and
yeah.
Nvidia, that's just number one industry leader in graphics card. When I built a PC when I was in 10th grade, yeah, so a
Hmm.
couple years ago, I Nvidia was the card that I wanted. Wasn't able I wasn't able to afford it, but it was something that I looked up to. So I totally
Yeah.
agree with you on the fact that
But it's not
Nvidia.
just about the product. When you invest in a stock, it's like you got to look at how much money do they make this year? How much debt do they have? How much cash do they have? You got to look
Mhm.
at all this shit. But the way I
And
invest in
see, that's what
stocks
I
is,
don't learn in school. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like
but you
all this stuff
can.
that you're telling me right now is stuff that I need to know coming out of high school and going into
No, you
college
don't. There's
where
a
I'm making
reason
money, and
right
no
there.
one's here to tell me that.
There's a reason they
Like
don't tell you that. They want you to get your job in computer science, but they don't want you to retire until you're 65 or whatever it is in the States.
yeah,
Because if you knew how to do
because
this,
that's how they make their money.
exactly. If you knew how to do this, you could retire when you're 40 or 30. You
Mm,
know what I mean? So, but
yeah.
basically the way I invest in stocks is I pick a company, I look at like their fundamental analysis. Okay, what's their target estimates? What is their profits? What is their cash? All this shit, liabilities, and then I'm like, okay, I'm holding this stock for 10 years. I don't care if it goes to like if it goes down 50% tomorrow. I'm looking 10 years ahead.
Mm,
That's it. And you got to be able to control your emotions. Um, one of my favorite YouTubers, he says emotional intelligence is so much more important than IQ when it comes to success. It's unbelievable. Can you control your emotions? When you're angry, can you like let that anger go away and like just chill the fuck out? Or when you're like sad, can you just let and just chill the fuck out and like not have your emotions take over? You know what I mean?
yeah, like you got to learn when to let go of certain things, or
Yeah. Like just
because
fucking let it go.
if you're acting, if all you see is red, right? Like you're never gonna see green. Like no money's gonna come. Like that.
Exactly.
That's something I strongly
Exactly.
believe in. My mother always told me your anger is your number one enemy because it's all in your head. It's just a mindset of,
And
so
like
it's
for
like a
example, I
perspective.
could like my portfolio right now is very because I started investing when I was 18, the day I turned 18. So it's been like a year and something now. Like stocks are so down since then because, like I told you, the
Mhm.
markets are tanking. And I have emotional intelligence. So I'm thinking like, hey, this was a 10-year plan. But if you don't have emotional intelligence, you see them go down, you're selling because you're like, I'm scared of what's gonna happen next. What if it goes down more, right?
Yeah.
So you gotta have that emotional intelligence, right? That's. I had something I want to say. Something to build on. I'm trying to remember. Um. Oh, okay. So this like obviously a lot of people there's like no difference between men and women. Blah blah blah. That's bullshit. This is why I
Yeah.
think men are like if you look at the most successful people in the world, like 90%, maybe even more, are men. And I think that's why,
Okay.
because men just do a better job at controlling their emotions. When women get
Mm.
stressed, when women get angry, they fucking lash it out. That's fine, dude. I'm not a woman. I'm not here to judge. I don't care. But like That's why I think that's a huge reason. Because a lot of women are fucking smart, man. Like, a lot of women have very high IQs. They just don't know how to control their emotions. You know?
Or they just want different things. Like,
Yeah, they could. They
like
could. That's
not
very true.
like,
Yeah, but yeah, they just like if women, some women I know, man, like if they were able to control their emotions, they could run multi-million dollar, billion-dollar businesses, man. I'll tell you that. Yeah.
and isn't the CEO of Pepsi, I think, is an Indian woman.
Is
I'm
it?
pretty sure. Like,
Could be, dude.
it's
Yeah, it could be.
possible. It's definitely possible for the ladies
Dude,
for to get as much power and respect and money as the men. I think it's just
people
going out there and
underestimate
doing it.
women,
That's
bro.
the same for anybody, to be honest. Like in that case, we're all on the same boat. You know, it doesn't matter if you're born with a, if you're born as a
Yeah,
male
no,
or born
you're
as a
right.
female.
You don't even have to continue. I know what you're saying because, dude, people underestimate how smart some women are. Like, I'm sitting there and I'm
Mhm.
like, wow, because like I'd be learning shit from them and I'd be like, I know that, and then they're making me feel like a fucking idiot, and I'm like, okay, damn, you know
Yeah,
what I mean? But yeah,
yeah,
they're and like it's hard. You gotta be like sensitive with this topic because a lot of people get offended, but
yeah.
whatever. I don't really care. Anyways, so like we talked about before the podcast, I'm getting on this YouTube journey,
Mhm.
man, and I'm trying to take this shit serious. Like I'm starting to look into investing in ad tools. Like when I post this podcast, I'm probably gonna make a post on Instagram for
Mhm.
it, and I'm gonna fucking pay like $50 to promote it. Right?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever looked into that?
I have looked into that. I haven't like actually done it myself, but because most of the promotion that I did was just like me posting on my social media or whatnot, like, but I never like boosted it, right? That's what it's called, like boost your
Yeah,
post or
yeah.
whatever on
Ad
Instagram, I
tools or
believe.
something. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
you,
so I think
but
that's
you're into
extremely
the content.
powerful. Yes, I love content. So I was gonna ask you a couple of questions about how you do your content here for this podcast, and I was gonna see if we could ping some ideas off of each other. What I was gonna say is, so when you do these podcasts, right? What's your main like editing software that you use?
I barely edit it, dude. Like this is raw. Like I
Okay,
use
so that's
iMovie.
step one. I believe that strongly that everyone that wants to content create needs to edit their content because
Okay,
it
the
doesn't matter like
podcast as
if
well.
it's
Like I
if it's color
edit like my
correction.
regular videos. Sorry to interrupt. Like my regular
Mhm,
videos, like me saying,
mhm,
"Yo, buy this stock." School wants you to be poor.
mhm,
I edit the shit out of those. Like it takes like 5 fucking hours. But you think I should edit the
mhm.
podcasts?
Um, maybe for podcasts, what I would say is maybe not like edit what we're saying, but as we're editing, like maybe have pop-ups on the screen, visual engagement, that kind of stuff, or color correction, or simple stuff like that that people don't think about. How editing can like make your audio better, all that stuff. You don't notice it when you're watching content, but subconsciously your brain is judging everything that it's taking
Yeah,
in,
no, you're
and
right.
it's
It's
comparing it
gonna.
to everything else that you've seen. So if I'm watching a podcast, right, I'm like subconsciously comparing it to other like podcasts I've
Yeah,
watched, like Joe Rogan or maybe Impulsive. Those are just two of the biggest that I just like named off.
yeah,
But the reason why I say that is because I compare myself to that because that's just what I think of a
a
podcast.
hundred
So I
percent.
want like this podcast to be just as big as that, and I want everyone to compare this podcast to those kind of podcasts.
Thank you,
And in
bro.
order to do that, you got to have all that behind the scenes stuff that they're doing that most people don't see and they never even think about, to be honest. But that's just what takes any podcast to the next level, or for
So you know what?
example any video, to
You
be
know what
honest.
I'm gonna do for this podcast to start first?
Hmm.
The problem is, dude. Like, if I'm being honest, I'm lazy, and I'm like, okay, this podcast is like an hour and a half. I'm not gonna fucking do
Hmm.
this. But what I could do,
Just scrubbing through that whole video is just a
exactly.
lot of time,
But
like
what I could do
time
is
consumption.
briefly watch it, be like, okay, Saitej said something like pretty fucking good here. Like this is good content. I'm gonna
Hmm.
make sure the screen is only on his face for this 2 minutes where he was just spitting
Yeah,
fucking
exactly.
facts.
Just
You know what I
little
mean?
little things like
Yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But
I
like
totally agree with you on that.
right now, like this, I got like a 1 to 2 person setup here. I kind of like doing it in
Hmm.
person, but realistically, I prefer it on Riverside. But if I can build enough
Okay.
wealth, like the thing with Logan Paul and Joe Rogan is these
Hmm.
these guys were rich as fuck before they did their podcasts. So they were like,
A
okay, we're
lot of
getting a
capital.
fucking beautiful studio, you know what I mean, microphones, sound
Hmm.
panels. Like, dude, I don't have the money for that, but I would love to, and I could get you guys from the States over here. I could even have one in the States. Like, it doesn't matter, right?
Hmm.
It's all about, dude.
I
What I
agree
try
with
to
that.
preach is it's a lot easier to make money if you have a lot of money. The the hard part is like they say making your first million is the hardest. After that, if you have $1 million, it's a lot easier to make another $1 million when you have $1 million. You know what I mean? It is
Yeah.
because you can buy shit that makes you like shit like real estate. I can't buy a house right now. If I had
Yeah.
a million
Real estate
dollars,
would be like like
yeah,
a rental property, right?
fuck yeah, dude. And then your next million comes like that. You got fucking 5 properties working for you. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Fuck, man.
Yeah, like that's all income of you just going, driving
Yeah,
around to each place and just making sure everything's all good. And there you go, you're making millions of dollars.
exactly.
It's pretty
You
easy
don't
if
even
you
have
have
to
the money.
work, dude. And you know what's funny? It's like the
Hmm.
fact that school doesn't teach us about money is shown by with all these lottery winners that fucking end up broke a year later.
Or NFL players who make all
Yeah,
that money and
exactly.
are
That
broke
as well.
very soon.
Because getting wealthy and staying wealthy are two different skills. You and I, what we just talked about,
Hmm.
making your money work for you, is staying wealthy. A lot of people don't fucking understand the
Yeah.
importance of doing that. And I
Yeah, it's not just about getting the dollar, it's about how you're gonna save that dollar, how you're gonna reinvest that dollar, all that
exactly.
stuff. That's just as
Exactly,
important as
dude.
getting the dollar.
Like, fuck, I forget his name. He was in one of Tony Robbins' books, but he was a janitor his entire fucking life. Minimum wage
Hmm.
janitor. Retired with $8 million to his name. All he did was invested
Wow.
and let the money grow over like 60 fucking years. $8 million when he retired.
Hmm.
Because you got to make it work for
That's
you. Yeah.
amazing.
It's like once you realize that money can just work for you to make more money, it's like the greatest revolution.
That's like when you're breaking free from the matrix, like you said earlier.
Exactly.
Like that's
So
the guideline that everyone wants you to fit in and you just go sideways.
you know who's actually very controversial but like so out of the matrix is Andrew Tate. Like the shit, like dude, he is like he's like fuck carbs, go with the carnivore diet, COVID's fake. Um, I have 19 different passports. I have a global network. Like he is so out of the matrix. I love it. It's so funny. Yeah, he's crazy. Yeah, dude, the matrix. Like I love that. I love that term to describe how the real where the 99%
Yeah.
lives because they are like I see pictures on Instagram and it's like they're born, they go to fucking grade school, high school, college, work, die. That's it.
Hmm.
It's kind of fucking sad. Like, dude, do you want to like you and I
It
just talked
is.
about the lottery, right? You and I have already won the lottery.
Hmm.
Believe it or not. How fucking lucky are we to be living in these developed countries with good parents? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We already won the lottery. So what are you gonna do with this life? Are you gonna fucking
Extremely grateful for everything I have, you know? Like
exactly?
that's why exactly like my parents personally coming up, like my dad used to live in a hut and his bed used to be like rice bags, you know? Like it's crazy what my parents have come from and that like every day drives me and strives me like to like push to the next level. At the same time though, it also makes me realize that the world out there and the world that I have created for me in my head is just insanely miles apart. Like if I could like if people could experience what all those everyone else did, like
All right, technical difficulties, shit happens, guys. I'm sorry, whatever. Saitesh, you were going off, man. Let's hear
well, I was just
it.
saying how it's the world that we live in is miles apart from the world that many people, millions and billions of people live in across the world. And taking that into perspective really puts you in your place. And I think that's should be mental motivation for a lot of us that are privileged. It doesn't, it may not look like privilege based on what you have, but if you compare that to people across the world, like that privilege is there. And I think that needs to be accounted for. And I think that's like something that should be able to push you every day and be like, damn, I'm given this
Well, what I try to
opportunity. What
tell
am I
people
going to
who
make with
can't,
it?
what I try to tell people who can't understand that is like, okay, look, you first of all, that's like extremely true. But like, you probably have like friends that are like stupid rich, like they
Yeah.
own huge houses, fucking retarded, like really nice cars, whatever.
Yeah.
And like you go to their house and you're thinking, oh, this person's happy all the time. They have this, they have that, they have this, they have that. But like,
Mhm.
they were born with that, so it feels normal to them.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the same gap between you and people that live in third world countries. They
Yeah.
would come and think that you're happy all the time,
That's a
but
really good way to
realistically,
put it. Wow.
yeah, exactly, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
Because it's just like, what are you born with? What are you used to? Fucking
Yeah.
dude, if you're born into a $1 billion family, money means nothing to you growing up. Like, I actually would hate that. If I was born and fucking Kylie Jenner and Travis Scott were my parents, that would suck. Because I would never see
There's
the
no room
value
for
in a
growth.
dollar. Never in my life. Yeah, no, never. Like, never. It's like, dude, that's boring. You know, because people, like, people would hear that. They're like, you're crazy, dude. You could go to fucking Dominican, blah, 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 drive a Lambo whenever you want,
Mhm.
but you never see the
But it
value
doesn't
in a
mean anything to you
Lamborghini.
because that's just it's too
Yeah,
easy. You
it's
know,
always
like
there. Yeah,
there's no
exactly.
satisfaction.
Exactly. Like, what the fuck? What are you gonna strive for? Like being Vladimir Putin? Like that's about it, dude. Like, you know what I mean? But it's all perspective, man. Like this thing is no one can really see past their visual lens
Hmm.
sometimes, right? And that's how it goes. So you were just talking about India and your parents. So they're from India, right?
Yeah.
And um, when did they move to the U.S.?
So my dad came here in the late 90s, just him and my mom. He came here working for a company named Miracle. It's a software company that found him in India actually and decided to like sponsor his visa or whatnot. And he came over here to the States. And originally, when he came to the States, he was just traveling around. He was a contractor. So he's doing jobs
Okay.
for whatever company needed him. And so after doing a couple jobs, he ended up at DTE, the energy company here in
Okay.
Detroit, and
Detroit,
then
yeah.
he worked at a couple companies named Bond Desk or whatever. They do bonds and whatnot. He had to go to New York for
Yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah.
and eventually now he's working at Volkswagen Group. So that includes like Volkswagen, Audi, Porsche, Bentley, Bugatti, all those companies. That group.
So he
My
seems
dad is
like
a data
a
architect.
what is his education? You
So
said he has a
all he
background.
has is a degree from Andhra Pradesh University. That's in India. So that
Okay.
mechanical engineering degree is what he has. And with that one degree,
So
he was able to carry himself this far.
I work with a lot of Indians, like where I work.
Hmm.
So a
Okay.
couple things really amaze me. First of all, like you said, your father was in mechanical engineering. They're
Yeah.
all in school for engineering. And
Hmm.
this is not to get like racist. It's just like fucking true. Like every single
Hmm.
one, I'm like, what are you doing? They're like mechanical engineering, computer engineering, software engineering. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's like big in Indian culture. That's fine. But
Huge.
like, what really shocked is it really? So like, they're like a lot of them, and this is not like anything against them because they're all fucking good guys, but they're not
Mhm.
like I don't know if it's like a certain like part of the brain or something, but when it comes to factory work, this is a good thing honestly.
Okay.
They're just not as quick as like the other people from Canada. I don't know, like this is not like racist or anything. They're just like
Mhm.
they're slower. Like I tell them this and they don't do it, and I tell them this and they don't do it. But I know deep down they're actually fucking very smart. But
Yeah.
when it comes to the factory work, it's just not for them.
Yeah. I
Do
think
you know what
that
I'm
has to
saying?
do with just like the way just a lot of the way we were raised. I think that's what it has to do. Like just in my household at least, growing up, my emphasis was on school, school, school. Like getting a job
Okay.
necessarily wasn't even in the picture. Like that's not something that I didn't even need to do
Oh,
until I needed money. Like our number one emphasis coming up is education, and education is the key for success. So it's really hard
that
for an
makes a lot
Indian
of sense.
kid to realize that like damn, like to really explore the real world because we're in this shell which is like education, 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 education. What else am I gonna do? I don't need to do anything else. So my issue was with that is I got extremely comfortable, and if I get extremely comfortable, if I go out and do a
No
factory
one.
job, that's
Okay.
not exactly gonna go hand in hand. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So that's why I started
Well.
to become uncomfortable.
So I need to learn more about this Indian culture because okay, so they another thing is like so there's a lot of lifting in my job. It's a factory job,
Mhm.
dude. So like I'm lifting like fucking boxes and shit, and like I don't know if it's because of what you guys eat. So is there a lot of meat in your diets?
No, so I'm vegetarian.
Okay,
I've
that
been
makes sense.
vegetarian
Okay,
my whole life. So that's
okay,
definitely has to do a lot with it. Our protein intake is a lot lower than most
yeah.
regulars. However, we do ingest like a lot of different like spices and different kind of like
Oh,
foods
dude,
that most people would
dude.
never possibly imagine that they could eat. But it's not
The
anything
best
that's like
part about the best part about working with foreigners, even not even just Indians, Asians too. I'm trying these people's foods and they're spicy and they're like so
yeah.
different. I love it, dude. I'm like, this is awesome.
I would
This is
say like
sick.
the amount of different like tastes and like just
Oh
textures
yeah.
and flavors I was able to experience just from being an Indian, I am extremely grateful
Oh
for.
my god.
Like the things that have
Yeah,
happened in
dude.
my mouth, like
Yeah, that's fire. That's fire. But another thing that shocked me about Indian culture is
hmm
so I'm like seeing all these Indian people and they're
hmm
all like talking to each other. They're not from the same home or whatever, but they're
hmm
talking in English. And I'm like, why don't you guys just speak in Indian? They're like, oh no, there is there's no Indian.
yeah,
There's like
English
five
is
like
actually
a
one of like
thousand.
the required languages. It's one of the required languages that you have to
Yeah,
learn
yeah.
in India.
So the way they all communicate is English, but like there's like 1,000 different languages in India or something.
Yeah, 1,000 dialects. There's like literally you walk like maybe 20 or not walk, but you travel like 50 miles north or 50 miles east, west, or south. You'll be around completely different people, different lifestyle. Like
Yeah.
it's pretty
hmm
crazy how
Yeah,
different it
I've
is.
noticed that. Like it's gone to the point where like I'm seeing people and they're like, yeah, I'm south, I'm west, I'm north, I'm east. I'm like, okay, now when I mean, by the way, are you which one are you?
So I'm
North,
South
south?
Indian. So South
Okay.
Indians tend to usually have a little bit darker skin. We eat a little bit, generally a little bit spicier food. That's just what we say, you know what I'm saying? And then North
Okay.
Indians, they're a little bit more
Yeah,
fair.
no.
They call their food different names as well. The way we cook our food is a little
Okay.
bit different as well. But however, the religion is the same. Like religion throughout the country is all Hindu, and everyone believes that, and that's something that unifies all those people. And I think without that, it
Okay.
would be very difficult, or else there'd be a lot of conflict. You know, if everyone has all these different ways of life, then there'd be no way for people
Okay.
to get along. And I think religion is the glue for that.
Okay, so religion, you guys are it's mainly Hindu there?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Almost
So
completely Hindu.
it's Hindu. Okay, so what is the main like first of all, I don't even know how Buddhism works, but like what are some of the differences between Buddhism and Hinduism?
Okay, so I'd say the main difference between Hinduism and any religion will be the fact that we believe in multiple
Okay.
gods. We believe in many, many gods, and we also are.
Really?
My religion is based. A lot of it is based on the moon. So the lunar calendar. That's
Okay.
what that's what it. So a lot has to do with the lunar
Okay.
calendar, and
So wait,
and
is
the
it like so
stars.
we go like the typical calendars, us orbiting around the sun, is the lunar
Mhm.
calendar the moon orbiting around us?
I believe it has to do more with like moon phases. I'm not sure exactly on this, but I believe it has to do with the moon
Okay.
phases.
And how like so
It
it's
just
is
means
it
like certain
years?
auspicious days or whatnot, or like what days we do certain
Okay.
things. Like, it's like almost superstitious in a way that we don't cut our hair on Tuesdays. Like that kind of stuff has to do with like lunar calendar kind of stuff. And like
Okay,
during
that's
lunar
interesting.
eclipses, we don't go to the temple. The temples are closed during lunar eclipses. You know what I'm saying?
Really?
Like that kind of stuff.
I
So a
have a
lot
couple
of our
questions.
religion has to be based on the moon.
Talk to me about the temple. What is this like?
So the temple. So the temple usually you walk in and it's just a large hall, and everyone at the temple sits on the ground. That's one big thing. There's no chairs or anything, and everyone at the temple sits on the ground. You're in line when you're sitting down. You're like almost looking up at God. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the
hmm
kind of
Are the gods, you mean?
or gods, yes, multiple gods. And usually they like each temple is like focused toward a certain group of gods or like one individual god. Like so I have a temple here in Novi, not too far from my house, and that temple is like mainly orientated toward one of our gods. There's other gods there, in like that, and they have their
Oh.
altars there or whatever, but there's one main god for that temple, you know? So different temples have
So
different things like that.
is it like the Greek way of viewing it? Like this is the god of thunder, this is the god of water, this is the god of sea or whatever. Is it like that
It's
or is it
similar.
different?
It's very similar to that. Yeah, very similar.
So so what are is there a specific amount of gods, like a set number?
No. There's
Okay,
like
so
so
is it
they
like
say so basically there's like three main gods in
okay,
our religion. So there's the creator, the watcher, and the destroyer. Those are like the three main gods, like as
okay,
and what their purpose is. And each of those gods have avatars, and they have different versions of those gods, and that's what we like pray upon. And
okay, nice,
there's like
dude.
the goddess of money, there's the goddess of like wealth, goddess of
Really?
success, goddess of education. You know, there's many
Oh,
gods for
okay.
that. So it's really
Okay.
interesting.
That's interesting. That is very interesting. No, I love talking. Even when I was with Vatan and he was talking about Islam, I'm like, dude, I could talk about this all day. I love talking about different religions. So I know, like, I meditate myself.
Mhm.
Do they meditate in
Yeah,
Hindu?
so yoga is actually written in the Hindu transcript. That's where yoga comes from, is from the religion Hinduism. So yoga is
Really?
like extremely huge in our religion. Like
Well, dude, I
certain
actually heard
positions of
of.
your body can like cause like they say like different energies align in your body when you do different
Yeah,
positions and different movements, and it's all
is
about like
your
your
mind and
chakras.
body or
So your chakras are like one of the most important things, like aligning your chakras. All that is Hinduism, and a lot of like astrology as well is part of Hinduism, but it's not as like astrology isn't as in like, oh, you're gonna act this way, or if you're born in this way you're gonna be like this or whatnot. It's much different than that. It's more like a guidance instead of telling you what you need to be, you know, like
okay.
it's yeah, but
Wow, dude.
astrology as well is a very large part of my religion.
Okay.
Hmm.
Wow. Okay. So that's interesting. So, oh my God. Okay. So astrology, eh? But
Yeah,
like,
so like I have a birth
that,
star. My dad has his own birth star. My little brother has his birth star. Our family has our own star. Like it's all based on that. And the star that you're assigned could be a star that the
in
same
how
god
does
a
that
god
relate
was
to
assigned to that star
meditation?
too. What'd you say? Sorry.
How does that relate to meditation or yoga? Actually, you know what?
Uh.
I seen this. I watched this YouTube video on like semen retention and why it's so important.
Mm-hmm.
And this one like millionaire CEO in
Mm-hmm.
India, I mean, he's like his main business model is yoga, which might not
Okay.
surprise you since you just said it's
Is his
based
name
on
Bikram?
Hinduism.
Bikram Yoga? Is this what you're talking about?
I don't know. All
Oh,
I
okay.
know they were talking about the CEO and he's like 28 years old. He's just
Mm-hmm.
never had sex. He's like
Oh, wow.
he doesn't believe in like ejaculating because he feels like because it uses your energy, right? So
Your
like
life force.
if yeah, something like that. I don't fucking know.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, he's like, oh, if you use all that energy towards like getting better and all this shit and like building your business, whatever, you get the most out of it or something. I don't know, dude. Either way, he's like 28 and he
Yeah,
just doesn't believe in
technically they don't
ejaculation.
want us to do that in our religion. Like in our religion, there's all like you save yourself until marriage. You don't have all that still
Yeah,
applies.
no,
You know what
that's
I'm saying?
most religions are like that.
Mm.
Most religions, because they don't like they believe that the only reason you should be ejaculating is to reproduce.
Yeah, and I mean we have a whole
Otherwise, like
book.
for pleasure
We have
purposes.
a whole book on reproduction. It's called the Kama Sutra. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of that, but it's literally a book like dedicated.
I've heard it, but like I didn't know that was what it was called,
Hmm. Yeah,
or that's
that's
what it
part of
was
Hinduism
meant
as
for.
well.
So so one like, do you guys believe in homosexuality?
I am not 100% sure on that. That is not a conversation I've had with my parents yet. So I am
So
not well
in
informed
the
enough to answer.
Christian or Catholic religion, basically the way they look at it is like like if you're, I'm not saying I agree with this by the way
Hmm.
because I don't really care if
You're
you're
just
gay, but like
explaining what it
um
is. Yeah.
yeah. So they say like if you're gay, that's cool. Like if you feel attractions towards the same sex, that's fine, but you
Mhm.
shouldn't act on it. So basically, like
Oh, I
a lot of
see.
like even like if you know a guy that's going out and like fucking a new girl every week, that's like considered the same sin as like being gay, because it's like
Oh, wow.
you might have the desire to fuck a girl every week, but you shouldn't act on it because it's not religiously right. That's what they say. So just because you want to do something doesn't mean you should always do it. You shouldn't act on it, and that's basically what they're saying. So, but like I don't know, like I don't know if like you're gay and like you don't act on it, and you decide like I'm never gonna do anything with anyone in my life because I'm not even attracted to the opposite sex. I don't fucking know, but that's the way they look at it. But I was interested to know if Hindus had their own view on homosexuality.
Yeah, I mean, other than I'm not like I don't know anything other than the fact that like I'm pretty sure in our books it says that the main reason to get married or have a sexual relationship with someone is to reproduce and create a child.
Yeah,
So, and I
yeah.
don't, and I think along those lines, like, it wouldn't really fit with homosexuality personally, because I don't know how
No,
they
it
would
wouldn't. Yeah.
reproduce. So,
No, they definitely are against
and they
it.
say like marriage in our culture is like the next step towards like enlightenment. So it's like something that
So
opens your life spiritually because having another person that your soul is tied to means that that's like all that energy that's also aligned with yours.
is
So
that
it's
why you guys do like so this one girl I work
hmm
with, she's Indian. And I asked her because I know that you guys are really big into arranged marriages, and
my
she
parents had an
said
arranged
her
marriage.
parents exactly right.
Yeah.
She said her parents like are giving her 5 years to find a guy she wants to marry, and if
hmm
she can't, they're just gonna find someone because like she has no choice. She has to get married, and I'm like, what? But like
Yeah.
that what you just explained, like you need to have your soul enlightened with someone. That explains it perfectly.
Yeah.
So like,
It's just the next
yeah,
step in spirituality. That's what they say.
yeah. So would your parents be the same way? Like if you don't find a woman and you're like 27 and you're single,
Yeah.
would they
100%.
they would
It would
force
be
you?
100% the
Really?
same way. Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Because it's just after a certain time they believe it becomes a distraction. You know, you're gonna go off path so much that you won't have the right goals in mind if you're worried about that. So
But
that's
it's
part of
what
it.
it, but like
I mean, if you're matched with someone, what they do is they look at your astrology
but
chart, your
that could
birth
also
chart,
be
and whatnot,
considered
and
that
they
could
see if
also be
you're like
considered a
astrologically
distraction.
compatible. Sorry, what'd you say?
No, no, no. I'm gonna build on what you just said. I don't.
hmm
I disagree. I'm not even trying. I just disagree with that.
Yeah, that
That
that makes total
that
sense. I mean, I don't know if I fully
yeah.
agree with that as well, but I know that's just what's coming for me. You know, like
Yeah, no, I know.
hopefully I find someone before it comes to that point, but that's just
And I
something
don't
I
I
really
don't
disagree
condone staying single your whole life because that's boring. But like I don't believe you
I
should
mean, that is
go
a
off the
possibility
stars.
though. That is something a lot of Hindus
I
do.
know a lot of people do that, but like I don't believe you should go off the stars. I think that's like okay, well like you're spending the rest of your life with this person. You're probably gonna have a couple kids,
Mm-hmm.
and like you gotta make sure you're fucking compatible. Like I don't. I would have to like learn about this astrology shit or stuff. I want to make sure like it's because I'm an open-minded person, right? I'm not gonna sit here and say it's all bullshit. It's all this.
It's
I don't
so
know a
our
thing about it.
astrology is not like the astrology that like most people would think of. It's not like the
I know
sign
it's not like
that kind of
zodiac
stuff.
signs and shit.
No, no, not at all.
Even zodiac signs, you know what? I used to say a lot of bad shit about them.
hmm
But hey, man, like I don't know anything about it. I'm open-minded. I've heard there's a lot of science behind it.
Okay.
Yeah, like when like how the water is formed in the fucking world or something. I don't fucking
hmm
know. I would have to sit there and have a conversation with probably a woman because it's mostly women that believe in it, and
hmm
she would explain to me how it works. But
Okay.
what were you saying about how the Indians view astrology?
Um, it's our astrology. It's like our astrology is like there are horoscopes, there are stuff like that or whatnot, but it's like if you're like about to get an arranged marriage with someone and you clearly know that it's not going to be compatible, like then you don't get married to them. You know what I'm saying? It's not like the end all,
Hmm.
say like be all for marriage. It just guides for marriage, I would say.
Okay.
That's kind of like
Okay.
the way we
And
view it as well.
okay. So if so basically what you're saying is if like you're 27 and you're single, whatever, and your
Hmm.
parents say you have to get married to, actually, wouldn't it be the woman's parents telling the woman they have to get married to you,
So
or does it
it
not
actually
matter?
kind of has to be mutual, cause like
Okay.
there's a money transfer involved as well, and all that stuff. So it has to like go through families. Everyone has to kind of like agree with everything, or else it doesn't kind of like go through.
Okay. And if you don't mind me asking, do
Hmm.
you believe, like, if you do mind and you don't want to answer, don't. But like, do you believe your parents were compatible?
Um, yeah, I
Yeah.
believe my parents were compatible. They raised two kids. They're happily married.
Yeah, that's
They
why I was
had an
thinking. I'm
arranged
like, okay,
marriage, and
yeah,
it's definitely a possibility. Like it works. It I don't know how it works, and I don't know the exact details
dude, it's
on the whole marriage
you
thing,
know what I mean.
but for some
Yeah,
reason like that worked out for me. So I have two loving parents. They're
yeah,
together, and I
exactly.
think
No,
what
that's amazing.
really holds them together is their belief in God. If it wasn't for their belief in God, I don't think they would be together. And I think that's what
Yeah,
is
they
the glue
really
in arranged
believe
marriage.
that their marriage was the right thing to do through their religion.
Yeah,
Whether it was or it wasn't, they believe it, so it's gonna only make the relationship stronger, right?
exactly, exactly.
Yeah, and I'm sure you have a brother or sister.
I have a little brother.
Yeah, I'm sure both of you also make the relationship a lot stronger too,
Yeah.
because always kids always make the marriage stronger because it's one thing that the male or the mom and the dad can both mutually agree that they love,
Hmm.
so they kind of have to like fight towards it
Yeah,
together,
I agree
right?
with that. And
So
that's why
yeah,
marriage is extremely powerful too. I think that's part of the reason why you
I
become
know, yeah.
a whole person is when you realize when you have family, like that's just whole nother aspect of your life that you have to dedicate yourself to.
Do you think that
Hmm.
governments should be involved in marriage? Because obviously, if you get married, legally married,
Hmm.
you're like it's legal, and like you have to like if you want to get split up or divorced, it's another
Um,
whole fucking legal process.
I don't think government should have, to be honest, pretty much
That's
anything
what I'm saying.
other than the fact that if your like status for taxes. I think that's about the only thing as deep as government should get into relationships, because
Yeah,
I don't understand like why they would need to other than having more personal information on you.
it's probably why,
You
to be
know what I'm
honest.
saying?
But I just mentioned divorce. How do you guys view divorce?
Oh, divorce is extreme. Like that's just something you don't do. Like that's just not. You don't. We don't believe in that.
Really?
Like it's like it basically it's like not even an option. Like obviously you can if you want to. Like there's a term for it and everything in our religion, but it's like it's
Wow.
extremely shunned
But
upon.
like, even if you like you grow up and you're like I don't believe in this religion anymore, blah blah blah. Your
Hmm.
parents will never like probably never look at you the same.
Yeah. No, they if I didn't believe in my religion, I don't think I would be living in my house.
So you are a very religious in
Yes,
Hinduism,
I
right?
believe I'm a religious person. Yes. I believe in God
Nice, dude.
wholeheartedly, fully.
Good, dude. It's always good to have something you believe in.
Yeah,
Always
I'm
good.
gonna be totally honest with you. About 2 years ago, I didn't believe in God. I thought God was just something forced upon me by my parents, and it's something that, like, to be honest, I kind of hated. Like, I really, really hated it, and I had like a very like rude spiritual awakening. Like, I was at an extreme low point in my life, and I had no one to turn to. Literally, I couldn't turn to my family. I couldn't turn to anyone. And the only person that I could turn, not even person, but the only like thing that I could turn to was God. And I strongly
And
believe that
faith.
God and my faith got me out of my hardship and whatnot.
I hear that
And
so
since then,
much,
like
dude.
I
I
respect
hear.
that and I view that completely differently. Like if you're open to letting yourself being changed by your spirituality or your faith. That goes for any religion. If you're open to like believing and having that faith, I think it can be extremely life changing.
Dude, one thing, like, I always talk shit about religion. I believe in faith, but I
Mm-hmm.
hate religion because it separates people. But one thing I can tell you, like, for a fact, is what just happened to you, I've heard so many times. Like, people are down in the dumps, and realistically, they need something to believe in. Like, why am I alive right now? What is my purpose? And if you have a
Exactly. I
God
thought I
that
had
believes
no
in you,
purpose. I thought I was waking up every
yeah,
day with just to like breathe and reproduce. Like that is not.
just, yeah,
It's much deeper
exactly.
than that.
Yeah, 100%. And then, dude, and that's why, that's like my big why on why I want to fucking be so rich and have so much influence on the world. People think it's because of money, and I want to live on a fucking yacht, and I want a fucking Rolls Royce. Though I do, that's not the fucking reason. It's like, okay, I God, whether I believe in the Hindu God, the Islam God, the fucking Catholic God, whatever God I believe in. If
Mm-hmm.
like there has to be a higher power, whether we live in it, there's a higher power,
Mm-hmm.
right? Can we all agree on that? Okay,
Yeah.
He's has you on this earth, and like a lot of people do live with no purpose. I want to live with a fucking purpose. I want to be on this earth, and when I'm 6 feet deep, I want to make sure that I had a positive impact on billions of lives. Billions.
For the better.
I help.
For the better. Yeah.
Pardon?
Like an
Yeah,
impact
dude.
on people for the better. You know what I'm saying? Because you can have an
Exactly.
impact on
100%.
millions of people
100%.
in a negative way
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
Like fucking like Hitler, but like no, no.
Yeah.
I mean in a good way. You know, I know what you mean. In a good way. Yeah, 100%. And that's hard. That's
Yeah.
hard because you're not always gonna please everyone. Even fucking
Mhm.
Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
Martin Luther, like, the epitome of like having a positive impact on people, still got assassinated.
Yeah.
John F. Kennedy still got assassinated, and like that's where all the conspiracy theories come in. Like, what if they were like going against the evil agenda of the world, and then someone said like, "Yeah, you've had enough time." Boom. Because dude, there's a lot of fucking evil, powerful people out there
Yeah. Because if you
that just
believe
don't
in
get a
God,
say.
that means the devil is real too. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no
It
other way.
has to be. It
Yeah.
has to be. It has to 100%. There's
Mm-hmm.
we talked about this with Vuitton.
Mm-hmm.
In order to have good, there has to be bad.
Yeah.
Because if there was no bad, you wouldn't even know what good is.
Just like how hardship creates success too. Without hardship, there is
Exactly.
no
That's
success. The
exactly
exact
what
same
we said.
thing.
That's the exact words. Like I use the word hardship so many times in my podcast with Vuitton, dude. Adversity, hardship. But
Yeah.
dude, people don't like that. People do not like that. People are weak and they want a shortcut where they achieve success through easiness. It's like, are you fucking
No, good
insane?
things
Like,
never come
are
easy, or
you
else
think
they
it's
wouldn't
gonna
be
work?
good.
Even if you didn't understand how to get successful and all you understood was computer science and how to
Hmm.
get a job in computer science, it's still fucking hard. You're in fucking college and it's hard,
Yeah.
dude. It's not fucking easy. Achieving anything meaningful requires hardship.
Yeah. I agree.
Simple. If you want something easy,
Wholeheartedly, I
go
agree.
work at a fucking factory. They'll take you right away, but you're gonna complain your entire life because you're making fucking minimum wage.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? It's easy, but do you want easy?
No,
Going to the bar tonight is probably fucking
no.
easy.
Yeah. Smoking that
What's
J at the
easier?
end of the day. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? That's
yeah.
just as
I'm
easy
I'm
as well.
not fully against that. At the
Hmm.
end of the day, maybe, but like maybe if you go like once a week, give your brain some like relaxation. And the thing with marijuana is it makes your brain think in a much different manner, and
Hmm.
sometimes it can be beneficial. Some people like dude they'll like develop straight up schizophrenia from marijuana. Like it's not good. Depends on the
Hmm.
brain, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, so like I used to do it every fucking day, and it literally just turned me into like a stupid
A
person.
zombie.
I was forgetting. Yeah, I was just stupid, and then like I stopped doing it every day, and I was just sharp, bro, just sharp. Like I could never go back to doing that every day.
Not a
I
chance.
fuck with caffeine. I fuck with caffeine heavy. I wish I never started, but I fuck with it heavy because
Hmm.
it fucking makes me
It's a
sharper, bro, in the
stimulant. It
morning.
gets you up. It helps you achieve the things that you
I
need to.
know,
So it's
but it's not
different.
good for your heart.
No.
It's not good for your heart. It is not. And like I've heard, when you develop it as a habit, quitting it doesn't even have many benefits. It's just like you're just fucking tired all the time. So like, fuck it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so one more thing I wanted to touch on in this
Mhm.
podcast was so obviously I did some studying on your interests before the
Mhm.
podcast, and you're into motorcycles.
Yeah. So just recently, I got my motorcycle license maybe 6 to 7 months ago. Last October, I believe, is when I got my motorcycle license. So about 8 months ago, actually.
So
And
when did
that
this was this since you were a kid?
is that something you said I wanted to do since I was a kid?
No, like did you always have a love for motorcycles since you were a kid?
No. So since I was a kid, my main reason that I just like going fast. Like I really like cars. Like
Okay.
that's something that's really big with me. And like when I was a kid, I had a dirt bike. Like that was like a lot of fun. But I never thought that I would have a motorcycle like ever in my life. Like I thought
Okay.
that's like something that I was never gonna be allowed to do, or it wasn't just something I was interested in. Like I thought they were cool. Don't get me wrong, but I I didn't have like any passion for them. And it's like now that I've like grown up and motor like I was in like such a low place in my life that there were points in time where I'd be like, does my life really matter? And that motorcycle, when I get on those two wheels, it helps me understand that I don't want to die. Like I want to be alive. Like I want to experience everything.
That's
Like
fucking awesome.
I sit on that motorcycle and it makes me appreciate life. Like it
So
makes
do you
me
just
like
feel like an adrenaline rush when you're just on
yo,
it fucking zooming?
huge adrenaline rush I get on that bike, but more importantly, it grounds me. It grounds me so much riding on that motorcycle because I might be on a very low before I get on that bike. I might be very like on a high before I get on that bike. I get on that bike and I'm calm. Only thing that
Wherever you
matters
need to
is
be.
just me, being
'Cause
careful, being safe, and that's
I
something
like
like
what
I
you said.
really wasn't able to get with anything else. Like I've had a fast car. Like right before I had my
It's like your
motorcycle, I
vice,
used to
right?
drive a scat pack. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And
Okay.
so speed, like that's cool. Like that's fun. Like I did donuts, I did all that stuff. Not once. That only added to my ego. It inflated it. It ballooned. Because a car, it can do that too, because it's a statement. You know what I'm saying? On a bike, you're wearing a
Yeah.
helmet. No one knows what you look like. You know, you're wearing your gear. No one knows what your body is like. You're on that bike and you're anonymous. You know, it doesn't mean like you look cool. Obviously, it's a motorcycle, but it's not like you're flexing on
Yeah,
people.
yeah, I
You know
know
what
what
I'm
you mean.
saying? It's
Yeah, I know
different.
what
It's
you
a
mean, yeah.
completely different experience. And I think
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
the
And it's
more
not
like
like one of those things like with the scat pack, that's like a thing
mhm,
like most like not most, like I don't know. I don't know how you purchased it, but most people can't buy, so it, like you said, it's a status thing. But the
yeah.
motorcycle, most people can buy that. You just like fucking driving it. You know what I like about motorcycles though? It's so
Mhm.
fucking like fuel efficient because it's so light.
Yeah, I get like 50 miles per gallon on my motorcycle. It's a very cheap way to get around
Like
right
that's awesome. Yeah, no, it is. It is. It really is. Like you're saving a shitload of money,
Yeah.
but like you can't drive it in the winter, can you?
No, no, it's
Yeah,
definitely a seasonal thing, and I get sad that I can't drive it in the winter. I wish I could, or I wish I lived in a state where that was possible. But
yeah,
yeah, living in Michigan, that's one of the big downsides of having a motorcycle is that
yeah.
it's
Because
extremely
we're
seasonal.
like an hour away, and I know you guys get snow up there too. So that's
Mhm.
that's not fun.
That's
But
the tough.
but like what I liked about what you said was like it grounds me when I'm low and when I'm high.
Yeah.
Basically, because like a lot of people think like, oh, it grounds me when I'm low, but people don't understand like you can be too high too, and those are even harder to get grounded on because you're
Yeah.
fucking loving it, right? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, it
I
feels
talked about
amazing.
this in my
It feels euphoric
yeah,
almost.
100%, and it's like this is
Yeah.
hard to escape. I talked about this in my podcast with Matt Branch. It was my second podcast. He
Hmm.
said like life is always full of ups and downs, and like you when you were in your dark place, which I want to get to later. When you were in
Hmm.
your dark place, you ended up going back up, but like you can be so up, but like you're so naive to the fact that you will end up going down.
Hmm.
That like when you do go down, it fucking hits you like a semi truck, bro.
Yeah,
Like
it
shit's gonna
does.
happen whether you lose a loved one, lose a shitload of money because you made a bad investment, whatever the fuck it is. shit will end up going down. It's never
Mhm.
going to be continuously up, and you need to have that ground even when you're high. So I like how you said that, but I want to go back to the bike thing. So you like what do you drive? Like I know fuck all about bikes, so I'm gonna like this is gonna be like the most stereotypical motorcycle question. But like, what type of motorcycle do you drive? Like a Harley,
No, I don't
Suzuki?
drive I drive a Yamaha. It's a little sport bike.
Okay,
It's like
I know
320
yeah.
cc. So it's not like a crazy fast bike or anything. It's like it's technically considered a beginner bike. That's what it is. I'm gonna be totally
Okay,
honest with you. It still does like
okay.
120 miles an hour. Don't get me wrong. Like it's fast, but it's considered a beginner bike. Um, that's what
Do
I
you know
ride,
how fast
and
120 miles an hour feels on something that light, though? Yeah.
it's scary. I have never gone
Okay.
that fast on two wheels yet, and I don't know if I ever will. But
Yeah.
but
It's like
I've been
like
that
you're
fast in a car, and I can tell you even on four wheels, it's pretty scary. So on two, I could only
yeah in a
imagine.
car especially in a scat pack, dude. Like you're close to spinning and shit.
Hmm.
It's like well, like a fucking bike, dude. It's like because the air is actually fucking hitting you.
Yeah,
Like there's no
that's the
windshield.
issue.
Nothing like
So
that.
when I drove my bike back from school, which is like about an hour away, it was all an hour highway driving. My biggest issue with that was the wind. The whole way, like
Yeah.
I had to be hunched over, tucked into like the wind bubble that the screen provides you, or else you're like getting knocked left and right. Like you move your head even a little bit, and your head will just catch the wind. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that. You just have to be like
Wow.
perfect. And also all these other cars coming past you in semi trucks, they create their own air pressures. You know what I'm saying? So if you're
Yeah.
going past a semi truck, so like that was going past a semi truck was like one of the most like scariest things I've ever done. I'm not gonna lie. Like I was flying and I
Wow.
this is my first time on the highway and the air pressure from the semi truck, like you can even feel it in a car sometimes when you're driving past
No,
them.
I know
You
you
can
can.
feel
You
it
can. You
shifting
can like
over.
hear it
So
too.
when you feel that on a bike, you'll genuinely think like, "Oh my God, like is this it? You know, like
Yeah.
is this the moment that I am no longer here?" So like I
It's
was like,
definitely nerve-wracking. It's definitely
hmm?
like when your first time going on a highway. Oh my
Hmm.
God, that's probably so
Yeah,
nerve-wracking.
it involves a lot
I
of
can imagine
discipline
that.
too. Like I think,
Yeah, I
like you
never
can't be a
thought of
dumb.
it until I never thought of it until you just described it. Now I'm thinking like, dude, that doesn't even seem fucking enjoyable. But it might be when you get used to it, right?
Yeah, that's the plan. I'm planning on trying to get used to it so that I can enjoy it a lot more.
Yeah, because a lot of people, I know a lot of people love it, and I can see.
Mhm.
So yeah, so you can't like you have to wear a helmet. Then there's no way you
Oh,
don't,
there's
right?
not. I don't think you should ever go on the highway without a helmet. For that matter, I don't think you should ever ride without a helmet, personally, because it's never like I
Yeah.
know they say this so much, but it's almost like almost all the time it's never you, it's someone else on the road that makes one small bad decision and you end up paying the price. You know,
100%.
and if we're all successful people,
But
we're
like
all
that's even with
gonna be
cars.
worth
That's even
something.
with cars.
So it's
Yeah,
not. You
like
gotta
my
protect
buddy,
your asset, your
my
brain. You
one,
know.
my yeah, exactly. That's why I couldn't do boxing because I tried it for a day and I liked it and I liked like, well, this is discipline and all that. But I was getting hit in the
Hmm.
head a lot and I'm like, I gotta protect it. I
Yeah.
gotta protect it. But my one buddy, he drives a Charger.
Okay.
He's an amazing driver and he doesn't wear a seatbelt for that reason.
Oh.
And like yeah, so I'm like, okay, dude, you're an amazing driver. Accident is two people, not one. You know what I mean? If you get in a head-on collision, you're flying through that fucking windshield. You don't want to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
you
you
become a little
just put it
splatter.
on, dude. Like, what do you? Yeah, like, do you think you're cool not having it on? Like, just fucking put it on. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
I even put that shit on when I'm in the back seat. I don't give a fuck. No beeping, nothing. I'm putting that shit on, dude. Dude, like, fuck, man. I love my
Yeah.
life, and I don't want to lose it. I don't want to lose it. You know what I mean?
Totally agree
That's
with
the way I like it. Yeah. So one last topic I wanted to touch on
you. Mhm.
that you, like I said, you and I are both going to relate to this was overcoming weight loss. So talk
Mhm.
to me about is this when like I said I wanted to touch on your down times. Is this what you meant by like
Yeah.
so you were when you were fat, right?
So I was at a peak. I am 5'8", and I was over 200 pounds. At that time, I was even shorter, which to me is like My face was like, poofy. I
Yeah, that's like
looked
that's
down,
nearly
and it was
obese
just
for that
demoralizing.
height.
And the main reason I really like became in a down place is that I realized the opportunity cost of me being fat. The opportunity cost of like me people not taking me seriously, opportunity cost with girls, opportunity cost with just my mental health. The fact that I have to look down and not be happy with myself is something that took me to rock bottom. Like the fact that
A
I
hundred
got way
percent.
too comfortable and I was like, wow, I really don't care about myself enough that I really got to this position. And that didn't sit right with me. It took me like really long time to realize that, but it did not sit right with me. And
A
that
hundred
was a
percent.
downward spiral until I hit
Yeah.
that rock. And then, I worked my way up
But
by going
that's
to the
kind of like
gym.
what happens when
So,
you live in comfort. Like you're fucking eating tubs of ice cream every day, chips and all this shit. And like
mhm.
theoretically, it sounds like okay, you're just constantly doing enjoyable shit, but that's not how it works, dude. Because like you're fucking getting fat and like it's horrible for you, and then you fucking you like you said you felt like shit about yourself,
Yeah.
right? And I can tell you firsthand, I know how that feels. No
Mhm.
confidence when you're approaching women. You're
Exactly.
just a fucking
None.
fat ass, dude.
And even if girls
You're just
did
a
like
fat
you,
ass.
it just seemed like, why would they even like me? I'm fat. You know what I'm saying? Like
You know what though?
it's so
The
demoralizing.
girls don't really care if you're fat. Girls don't really care if you're fat though. It's just like
Yeah,
for the
exactly. They
guy, it's
don't.
like okay,
But in my head, I
yeah,
always thought that. Like,
yeah.
I thought it was
Like,
impossible.
dude, fat comedians get the most girls in the world, bro.
They
Because
make
they're
people
just
laugh.
funny. Like, if you like,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. Girls. So this is one thing Jordan Peterson talks about, and I think it's really true. So I think you're really gonna like this. So what he says is, men mostly care about things and women mostly care about people, okay? So
Hmm.
that is why when men want like okay like when men usually be like engineers because they care about like things and building shit, right? It's like most engineers are men, and
Hmm.
then most nurses are women because they care about like helping people and wiping old people's asses and shit. Like most nurses are women, so like that's what he says. But like when you look, he never said this, but I made this conclusion myself. When you look at relationships, guys really they just want a girl with a fat ass and like a nice face because they just care about the human body, like the object, right? They
Hmm.
just care about the thing. Girls don't give a shit what you look like as long as you're like somewhat good looking, like not horridly ugly. They don't care if you're short, they don't care if you're fat. All they care about is your personality. That's it. Like how funny are you? How confident are you? How much pleasure do you bring them? That's all they give a fuck about. They don't care about what you look like. Very minimally.
Yeah.
So
Totally agree.
women care about people, men care about things. It's because
And
like
there's
no,
balance
do
in
you,
that.
like you
You know
love
what I'm
cars.
saying?
You love things. Like you love motorcycles, you love cars. Do you have any
Hmm.
girl friends that you talk to about your fucking scat pack?
No.
Exactly.
Yeah, I wish. I mean,
Exactly.
not a chance. Like,
Exactly. Because they don't give a fuck about things, bro. They don't
yeah.
care. But they'll sit there and gossip to you about this person and that person all fucking day. They'll do that all fucking day because it's a person and
Mhm.
they're interested in that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a really cool aspect. I like that.
Yeah, it's a dude like and like look, no hate towards the LGBTQ community. You guys are killing it, bro. Like you
Mhm.
guys made a huge following in the past 2 years. But
Yeah.
stop acting like there's no difference between men and women. Come on, man. Like they, what the
There's
fuck?
supposed to be.
Like there's literally
Biologically, there's a
scientific
difference.
differences.
Yeah, exactly.
I know. And like Jordan Peterson always preaches how there's no difference between men, or there is multiple differences between men and women, and he gets
Mhm.
hate for it. And it's like, bro, this man is speaking straight facts. Do you know who
Like
Jordan Peterson
scientific
is?
facts. Yeah, I've only
Oh, you
seen him
do?
on
Okay, yeah, I
TikTok,
love him.
but that's about it. Okay.
Yeah, so I emailed him. He's not answering me. I'm gonna email him again. I'm trying to get him on this podcast. And if I'm going to grow this I promise you he's going to be on it one day. I will grow it to the point where he notices it and he will respond to an email and he will be on it. And I want him on it so badly.
Man, I
Because
hope
you
he
know
gets
me
on.
from the 1%. You know me from the 1% Better meetings, and you probably you didn't know that there was like this side of me that cared about religion and psychology and philosophy and all that. Probably thought I was all
Mhm.
money and shit. No, I love you,
Well,
dude. I did.
I had some things written in my book of what I thought you were, but first of all, the fact that you're 19 was like the big game changer for me that I didn't know about. But
Dude,
like just talking to
I need to trim my facial hair.
it really opened my eyes, man. Like you're very intelligent, you're very knowledgeable, like you're open to
Thank you,
perceiving
man.
things, and that's what I think is really good. Like
Thank you, man.
being open to perception, I think is really important. And as you said, like
It's
and
very important.
emotionally aware. Like you're emotionally aware as well.
Yeah,
So that's all the right things that you need to do,
100%.
especially for a podcast too, where you're just interacting with a person constantly, like bouncing off each other or
Dude,
whatnot. So
I didn't notice until like my first episode. I noticed right away. I'm like, okay, like you got to be fucking careful. Like this person could have this political view. This person could have this political view. Like so,
hmm
like even when I'm asking you things like, was your parents' marriage compatible? Like I gotta be careful before I say that. That's why I said like, if you mind, don't say anything.
yeah,
Like you know what I mean? Because like it's
yeah.
hard. You're meeting people. You're getting to know people. You gotta be careful. But yeah, thanks, man. I'm not even that smart. I promise you, I'm not. I just like what I do is I fucking learn. I go out and learn. It's not that hard, man. If
Yeah,
you
be a
knew me
lifelong learner.
before, if yeah, exactly. If you knew me before, you like and you seen me around all my friends, you'd think I was the dumbest one there. I promise you.
Well,
Yeah, dude. And like I have my flaws, bro. I have my flaws. Trust me. But thank you. I appreciate it. I
mhm,
appreciate the compliment. You're a smart guy yourself too, man. Don't worry about
thank
it.
you, man. I appreciate that.
And that's why we're fucking that's why you ended up on this podcast, bro. God knows. God,
Yeah.
this is the law of attraction working right here. The law of attraction is real. I don't know if you ever looked into it.
Two smart
But as
people in the
soon as I
same room
switched
for
my
one
mind
reason.
exactly. As soon as I switched my mindset, it was like, okay, like people that like didn't care about the things. I don't even want to say stupid people because I don't think anyone's. I don't think I'm smart. I don't think anyone's stupid. But
hmm
people that don't care about the things I care about just fucking repelled. Like they were gone. Like all the negative thinkers, all the people that like cared about bars and shit and partying, which is fine. I'm not hating on anyone.
Yeah.
They just repelled, and then everyone like all the self improvement people just came to me like I didn't even ask for it. They just fucking boom. Like I'm getting
Yeah.
opportunities left and right. You know what I mean? So law of attraction, very real. But we're getting like an hour and a half into this thing. So do you have any final things you want to touch on before we get this wrapped up? Oh, dude, we
Um.
didn't talk about your old YouTube channel. Let's hear about it. No, we're not done yet. We need to talk about your old YouTube channel.
So
I want
yeah,
to
I had
hear
the
about
old
this.
YouTube channel where me and my little brother. It was something during quarantine that we were both bored, and we decided that we were gonna go make
Okay.
YouTube videos. And all we did was we'd go on my scat pack and I'd pull up songs that like from artists that he wouldn't know. So my first one that I did was with Pop Smoke, and it was my little brother reacting to Pop
Okay.
Smoke for the first time. So it's little things like that, or like try not to laugh challenge with
Dude,
him.
do more
I
shit like that, dude. If
yeah, I got to,
if
man.
you like content, if you like content creation, let me ask you one question. Why aren't you creating content?
Personally, I just think it's because I'm lazy. I need to push myself.
Yeah,
Like I, that's just like
but
I
you
have the
love
time
it.
for it. This is something I love to do, but I think part of it has to do with the fact that like content creation is it's one of those things where it's like no instant reward or gratification, and it makes it really hard to get into
Yeah, I
because
know.
you don't see
But
the results right away, and that's really
I know
demoralizing. And I
you're
think I let that kind of get to me,
it is.
and I think I need to break free from that.
You couldn't be more right. I
Like,
think I put a lot of efforts into my videos. Like
mm-hmm,
I spent like 5 hours editing some of my videos.
mm-hmm,
Nothing. And you know what? I don't fucking care because I love making them. And but like that's the thing. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You got to get to the point where you love making them. This ski mask thing might have been fun like the first couple times, but like, is that really what
it's
you
not something.
enjoy doing? If it is,
Yeah,
yeah. What do you like? What do you love? What do you like make? Like you said, dude. Before the podcast even started, you want to start making motorcycle videos.
yeah, that's what
Fucking
I'm
go
thinking
for it,
because
dude.
I currently do post TikToks constantly on my TikTok page of motorcycle content, and some of those are
Yeah.
doing pretty well actually. But I want to transfer that into YouTube, especially now that motorcycles are like starting to
Or
pick up. Like they're kind of trending right now. So I
use
think I
that.
might be able to
So do
capitalize
you
on that.
still own that Scat Pack?
No,
Do
it
you still
actually
own
got
that Scat Pack?
stolen. It got
Oh,
stolen.
dude, those things are so easy to steal, eh?
Yeah, I got
Yeah,
it stolen
those
maybe like
I heard.
a mile away from my house, which is pretty
And
crazy.
did you have insurance on it?
Yeah, I had insurance on it, but since it was a lease car, it pretty much there's not much that they can do
Oh,
about it because it's just a monthly payment. You know, you have no equity in the car.
so were you just continuing to pay the lease until it's over?
So my car got stolen after I made my final lease payment. After 3 years,
Oh, who
my
gives a fuck?
very last
Who gives a
lease
fuck?
payment I made, and it got stolen. So it's not like it's not too bad, but it's bittersweet.
No, yeah, dude, that's the dealership's problem. Fuck it. Fuck
Yeah, the
it.
dealership
Fuck it,
was
dude. The
robbed. You're
dealership
right.
deserves it more. Fuck it, dude. No, that's not a problem. So what car do you drive now?
Currently I don't have a car, because it was just a terrible time to get a car. The car market is terrible. I think it's a waste of money to
Yeah,
get a car right
yeah.
now. So I got a really killer deal on my bike from Tristan
So
Hurwitz.
how do you get
Actually, you know
around in
who
the
he is
winter?
from 1%. Um,
Yeah,
Usually Uber,
yeah.
or my mom lets me drive her minivan whenever I need it, or my dad has his car that I just borrow, but I
Okay.
don't have a car to my name personally.
Nice. Oh,
Yeah.
your camera is disabled, but we still got oh, the video is still recorded? Okay, whatever.
Okay.
Okay, so that's fine. No, yeah, you're chilling, don't worry. And yeah, that's so what I was gonna say is like if you still have the Scat Pack,
Mm-hmm.
use that on TikTok because like as
For
much as you
sure.
love
Yeah.
motorcycles, you'll gain a lot more traffic with cars because people love
Yeah.
cars.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's it. Go get into content creation, bro. Because like if you love it, go for it, dude. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's
And dude,
something I'm
like
good at too.
my
Just like the
motivation for
podcast
it,
stuff.
exactly. My motivation for it, expanded immensely once I learned I can just pay to market myself. Like, dude, I will be spending so much money on fucking marketing this YouTube channel. You don't understand.
And that's all
Bro,
money that you're investing into yourself. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that
exactly.
personally.
That's another way you can. Like, remember when I told you two ways you can make your money work for your business and real estate?
Mm-hmm.
This is business, bro. A YouTube channel is
This
a
is
business.
business.
Yeah, you spend money, you're making a service, and you're making money in return. I think that's a business.
And it's something that lasts
But
forever.
hey,
I think videos are like super cool that they last forever, and I think it's like
yeah,
really cool that it's like lens into the past. You know, like
if
it's
people
very cool.
if people like my videos and the way I make them, no fucking robot can replicate my brain to the point where it's like how I make them. Only I can, right?
Yeah.
So it's
Facts.
irreplaceable. Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, brother, now I think we're good. Got that. I got all the topics I wanted to cover out of the way. Is there any final remarks you want to make before we end it off and wrap it up?
I want to say thank you for having me. I had a great time on this podcast. I learned a lot just as much as I was able to speak what I know about my knowledge. And for that, I'm grateful to you, Richard. And I would like to
Thank you, man. I
just
learned
again
a
say
lot
thank you
too.
for having me.
Thank you for your time, man. I learned a lot. Like I learned about the whole Hindu religion, the astrology, how the laws are with the arranged marriage. I loved it all. But yeah, man, that
Mhm.
was awesome. So, anyways, RSaba podcast. Love you guys. Thank you, Saitej. You guys have a great night. Beautiful. You don't have to leave.